Hey guys, it's Coach Gaglione here. This is another edition of our Gag's Goals Update. This is our final video, at least for now, in my Road to 198 series. So if this is your first time stopping by, I'm Coach Gaglione. This is Gaglione Strength. I've been involved in strength coaching and powerlifting for over 13 years, and this is chronicling my weight loss journey. I've been as heavy as 340 pounds. I've been as low as 208 pounds naturally without the water cut. And we're just talking about, I want to recap my meet at 198. It was my first meet at 198 since back in 2006 when I was a young pup in a teenage division. I believe actually 13 years ago, I guess 13 years and 1 month, was actually my first meet ever in 2006. I don't have the exact date. I know my second meet was, I think, in October, according to Open Powerlifting. So yeah, the last time I was in a 198 class, I was 18 years old. Over 13 years ago, and then since then I've gained a lot of body weight. I've competed in every single weight class from 198 up until super heavyweight. About half my career, half my powerlifting career I spent working toward improving my raw lifts, and the intention was always to get into multi-ply or equipped lifting. When I got started, like I said, back in 2006, I was reading a lot of Elite FTS. I had the VHS. Do you guys even know what VHS is? I had VHS tapes, video cassette tapes of Westside Barbell and Louis Simmons, and I learned a ton of information from those tapes and those articles in Powerlifting USA. So even though the equipped lifting isn't as popular nowadays, it is kind of getting a little bit of a resurgence. If you guys may not have seen, maybe we'll put a link in the description because I think it'd be worthwhile for you guys to check it out. WPO is back. So it was actually on ESPN, so that's like the highest level of competition for multi-ply powerlifting. So it's cool. So it's just a different category of powerlifting. That's kind of like what I grew up with. And one of the reasons why multi-ply lifting is something I enjoy, it's a little bit more technical. But the other thing that's cool about it is it does provide some compression for your joints in the shoulder and the hip specifically. And it's allowed me to still handle some heavy weights. I'm still kind of scratching that itch of kind of enjoying lifting heavy while I've been on my weight loss journey. And at the end of the day, fat loss has been my main goal for the past three and a half years since I started. I've been using powerlifting competitions as a way to, number one, enjoy my training, give me a deadline, give me something basically to shoot for. We always talk about training is without a goal is like driving without a destination. So by signing up for these meets, signing up for specific weight classes, it's allowed me a target to shoot for so I can still kind of train and enjoy my training and also kind of keep my diet in gear and make sure since I signed up for a certain weight class, I'm going to have to lose weight. So just to kind of recap where my journey started, I squatted 900 pounds in the super heavyweight class. I want to say back in, the end of 2015. And then from there, I started to get my diet in check, start to lose some weight. I did some different exhibition lifts. I did a 1,000-pound gym lift, an equipped squat in the gym. It was a partial lift, but a lift nonetheless. I did a 705 raw squat, did a 750 squat and wrap. So I kind of checked off a couple of bucket list goals I wanted to hit before really diving into the weight loss full bore. From there, I did a deadlift only meet at 275. I pulled a personal best in competition of 660 pounds. And then from there, I started to do my full meets once again. Since I didn't really have a 242 full meet established in multi-ply, I didn't have a 220 or a 198. So I decided one of my goals on the way down to my ultimate goal of 198 was to establish totals in each weight class. In the Road to 242 series, I had a very successful meet. I didn't really do anything spectacular in any one discipline, but I did end up with a 770 squat. I did end up with a 490 bench and a 640 deadlift. And this meet was really special to me because it was the only meet I've ever hit all of my third attempts in a meet successfully. I did miss my second squat and second bench, and I was able to come back and nail those lifts. So that was one of my best performances ever. It was really cool. We had like Black Tom Cruise and Larry Williams there and a bunch of other guys with this band. My handler, the Volkswagen Beetle was there. It was just a really great day overall. So that was a big confidence booster. I did a 1,900 pound total at 242. And that's my third best total ever. I haven't really been able to put together a great meet. I've had a lot of great individual lifts. So I was really happy with that performance. From there, we went on to the Road to 220 series. And I challenged myself a little bit further this time, and I entered my first higher level meet, and my first meet that I had to get on a plane for. In 13 years of competing in powerlifting, I've never actually had to get on a plane. I've coached many lifters. I've coached lifters at the US Open. I've coached lifters at the USAPL and Raw Nationals. I've coached lifters at Boston Bosses. I've coached lifters at Slingshot. Before it was Slingshot Record Breakers, it was called Reebok Record Breakers. I've coached people at USAPL Collegiate Nationals. And I've actually coached people in 11 different states. Fun fact. But I've actually never competed outside of the Northeast, so I decided that I would challenge myself a little bit more, and I decided to enter the Slingshot Record Breakers meet myself. I was handling one of my buddies, Mike Hernandez, who's an excellent 148 lifter out of California. I competed on Saturday, he competed on Sunday, and we had a great time. Also just helped out some of the other lifters there as well. So for that particular meet, I ended up with a small PR squat for my 242 meet. I squatted 777, missed 804, very close. But I had an issue with my bencher, didn't really fit quite right after the weight cut, and I ended up bombing on bench even after lowering my opener about 15 kilos. I did manage a 611 deadlift, and I missed 650 very close. Jesse Burdick actually on the live stream thought I actually got it. It was very, very close, but it was kind of a turtle lockout. So good call nonetheless, but it was close. I did stand up with it, but it wasn't quite a clean lockout. From there, instead of electing to go to 198, I decided to do one more meet at 220 since I did not achieve a total because I bombed on bench. From there, I took a little time off and I increased my body weight a little bit. Mom's Christmas cookies will do that. This is my favorite, rainbow cookies. Never trust anyone that doesn't enjoy a good rainbow cookie, especially from Mama Gags. So I put some body weight back on. I did a bigger weight cut to make 220. I ended up with a good meet. I ended up squatting 800. I smashed it. I feel like I could have squatted 850 that day. I did deal with some shoulder problems. Tried some different programming, but I did end up with a token bench at 415. It took me 3 tries to get it, but I was able to successfully at least get one bench in, and then I pulled 630 deadlift, and that was also my shoulders affecting my deadlift strength a little bit at the time. So I ended up with an 1845 total with a token bench. Not great, but not a bad day, and it ended up with my best Wilks ever. So and that ended up with, at the time, that was my 4th weight class I've squatted 800 or more in, so I was very happy about that. After that meet, had a little pit stop at 242. I elected to, Benny was doing a raw cycle. He ended up with a 440 bench at the Connecticut RPS meet. And instead of just going to handle him, I said, you know what, I'll enter squat only. I'll just get this 242 monkey off my back. So I ended up smashing my opener of, I think, 735. And that was after not warming up properly because I didn't have enough time to warm up. I was using the new Ultra Pro suit and just didn't have enough time to adjust the strings. So, and anyways, I ended up standing up with 800, but I only got one white light and ended up going deeper on my 3rd attempt. I just couldn't quite stand up with it. So, still have not successfully squatted 800, 242, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Then from there, I kind of fully committed to this 198 weight class. So, this was my hardest cut yet. I was in a deficit the entire prep. I implemented a lot of intermittent fasting and a full 24-hour plus fast, 24-hour to 30-hour fast. I was very depleted. It was a very hard prep, but I pulled through. And when I set a goal, I really tried to give it my all. My lowest weigh-in was actually Halloween. If you guys watched my Rocky Italian Stallion deadlifts, that was fun. It was a little bit of an outlier weigh-in, and I was definitely depleted at that point. But my lowest weigh-in in the morning was 208 pounds, and I was very, very light and very depleted at that point. I would say on average, my weight was probably 4 to 6 weeks out from my contest. Average training weight was probably about 215. I had, and early in the cycle, it was a little bit heavier. Later in the cycle, I was sitting more like between 212 and 215. But in general, I was still about 18 pounds above 198 for most of the prep. And that's kind of when the gear fit pretty good. If I was a little bit anything lighter than 215, my gear was very, very loose. and I wasn't really getting the proper support from the equipment. So one of the things that's important if you are a multi-ply lifter is that your weight fluctuation can really throw you off. So I'm definitely a bigger advocate if you're a multi-ply lifter, especially if you're newer, to not cut weight. And then if you do, you get to be a lot more careful, especially with the bencher, which we'll get into in a second. The good thing now with the gear, the Leviathan Ultra Pro and the metal canvas that have adjustable legs, you do have some wiggle room, but the bencher is the one thing that's not really adjustable at this time. So you need to be very, very careful with your body weight, and we'll get to that in a second. So after doing our water load protocol, I like to use the Powerlifting to Win water load protocol. We're going to have a separate video on this as well. We'll kind of go through. I ended up losing about 20 pounds in 48 hours. But the water load process starts about 5 or 6 days out from your weigh-in day. So you can check out the Powerlifting to Win in the links below. Izzy Navarez he's got a great website, and that's it's a very basic water load. If you want to, if you have a big weight cut, again, we're not doctors, so I would just advise you hire a professional for that and be safe. I don't advocate this, but this is just something I did to hit the goals that I wanted to achieve. So after the water loading protocol on Thursday, before my Saturday weigh-in, my weight was as high as 222. So I was ultra hydrated with all the water and sodium and all that good stuff. On Friday morning, I ended up dropping a bunch of weight, due to lowering my sodium, lowering my carbs, and I woke up about 216, which is about my training weight. But obviously the difference was I was more hydrated. And kind of the idea behind the water load is that you're going to start to trick your body into thinking it's going to expel more water because it's thinking it's going to get more in. The morning of the weigh-in, I cut off my food very early, and like I mentioned before, I've been used to doing at least a 24-hour fast once a week. So going out without food for a day is not a huge deal, but going without food and water for a day is much harder. So especially when you got to sweat some weight out. So I had some coconut oil. I had quite a bit of coconut oil just to kind of get some calories in and keep my brain going. I had some collagen, protein, some coffee. The caffeine can act as like a little bit of a natural diuretic as well. So that it just kind of helps kind of keep you going throughout the process. So through a lot of effort, about 8 to 10 hours or so, so from like 12 o'clock in the afternoon to about 8 o'clock at night, I was in and out of the hot baths. I didn't really have much downtime. Just once my heart rate got down and once I kind of dried off, I would kind of just repeat those bouts. So I probably did about 20 short hot baths of like anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, to let my heart rate recover from there. And then after about doing 20 hot baths, I got my weight down to about 199 pounds. And then I went to bed and I floated a little bit more, and then I took one more hot bath in the morning. So my actual weigh-in was 197.4 pounds. From there, after my weigh-in, I spent a lot of the first hour and a half, I spent mostly just getting fluid in. And this time I kept my protein lower than normal. I kept my fat super, super low, basically close to zero as I could. Just there might have been some trace fats and like the rice and things in there, but mostly rice. I had some low-fat potato chips, coconut water, using Noon Tabs, LMT powder to electrolyte. So I had a ton of sodium, ton of carbs. I probably had close to 1,000 carbs for that particular day. And by the end of the night, I got my weight back up to 220, and then right before bed, I got as heavy as 226 pounds. So I recomped really well in terms of weight. The morning of, I got up early again. So one of the things that, again, as a multi-ply lifter, it's important to be hydrated, but it's also important to not be pissing when you have your suit on, obviously, because once the suit is on, you really can't take it off until the squats are done. So I got up a little bit earlier to kind of hydrate earlier so I can kind of not have to go to the bathroom. So I think I timed my eating and drinking really well. And then we started warm-ups for the squat. The squat's pretty simple. I just took plate jumps. I got my briefs on early. I was a little bit worried because I was having some pain in my right hip, which if you watched our vlog, I kind of strained my hip late in the cycle. But as I warmed up, it felt a little bit better. So I had Nick. Nick was calling me up probably a little bit higher than normal, but again, Nick is really good as a handler because he adjusts to the judges. So he called me perfect, and I got 2 white lights in all my attempts. except the one I missed, the third attempt, which I'll get into. But so he called my depth perfect. Any lower, I might have strained my hip more, and obviously any higher, I probably would have just got red lighted. So part of being an athlete is adjusting to the conditions of the meet. Squat depth is kind of like a strike zone with baseball, and every umpire and every judge is going to judge the strike zone different. Every judge in the powerlifting is going to judge the squat depth different. So I thought Nick did a fantastic job of calling me in a perfect spot, because you only need 2 white lights, and that's the bottom line. So I was really happy with how things went. 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plates. 3 and 4 plates, I put my briefs on. 5, I think I skipped 3 plates, going to 4 plates. 5 plates, I put my suit bottoms on. And then 6 plates, I put my straps up. 7 plates, I added a loose wrap. 7:45 was my opener. I don't think this could have went any better. It felt really good. It was a good confidence booster. This was a cool thing for me, because this opener marked the 6 weight class I've squatted 700 or more in, which is cool. So I kind of got that out. And I also knocked a square off the board from Bench and Benny, which always feels good. So my opener got me on my own record board at the gym, and also put me in a good position to move forward. So I liked it. Nick was calling my numbers. We went up to 800 pounds. Although if you look at the video, it looks like it's pretty fast. You can see my right knee caved in quite a bit. And my upper back was starting to fail. It felt much harder, so I don't know if it was... The thing with powerlifting and meet sometimes is that I was working toward this goal for so long. My first 4 times body weight squat, all these things. So I think this emotionally took more out of me than even physically. So it was a big kind of monkey off my back. And in hindsight, I probably should have passed on my 3rd attempt, but it moved good. I told Nick, originally we were going to go up to 840 because that would put me top 50 all time. I just knew 840 wasn't in the cards today, so we elected to, so Nick put in 825 for my 3rd attempt. 825 it moved out of the hole pretty good. I thought my positioning was really good, but I got a little bit forward out of the bottom, so it was a close miss. If I kind of just was able to push through that sticking point, and if I didn't kind of lose my positioning, I think 825 would have went. But nonetheless, 825 missed. I didn't strain too much, which was good. And that was that. Got some food in me, felt good. Now, bench unfortunately did not go as well if you are following our Instagram. So I ended up bombing on bench. I ended up putting my shirt on earlier at 315, and that was kind of a telltale sign, because 315 kind of flew down to the boards. I was getting really no support from the bench shirt. It felt like it was fitting okay, and I was probably telling myself it was fitting better than it was, but I kind of knew. So we jacked the shirt down a little bit more. I had a shaky lockout at 355 to a 1 board, and in hindsight, we probably should have lowered my opener. Watching the video several times after that, again, when you're in the moment, and I was like, and I don't fault Nick, it's just hindsight's 2020. If I was handling myself, I would have lowered my opener to 345, 350. Because the lockout was shaky, and honestly, anything after 315, my lockout was shaky. So at 375, I touched very easily. It flew off my chest, didn't lock out my right arm. Same thing happened on my on my 2nd attempt. Flew off my chest, couldn't lock out my right arm. With the help of Bench and Benny, he adjusted my shirt a little bit. He jacked the shirt up as much as we could. We pinched the triceps, we pulled the collar down, we pulled the sleeves down. We used every trick in the book. I was able to get it closer to lockout, although you'll see that my left arm locks, my right arm does not. I was able to stabilize it enough to get a rack command. I did get a white light from the head judge, even though I don't think I deserved it, but I did hold it up. But the side judge actually said my butt came up, which I don't think I've ever actually missed a lift for my butt coming up in a competition before. I've certainly had my butt come up before, but I've never actually missed a lift in competition due to it. So that was sucky, but that being said, I didn't deserve the lift anyway, so it's okay. I knew the bench was going to be a roll of the dice, and this is a good lesson learned. I went off program once because I panicked because I only benched 440 in a loose shirt. And in hindsight, I would have loved to hit that 440 at the meet. So I ended up getting in my shirt too early, and that's kind of when I hurt my shoulder and things kind of I was never able to play catch up between being in a calorie deficit and then tweaking the shoulder. Listen, the weight cut I'm sure had a factor in there too. So I'm gonna have to kind of reevaluate. I did not get a chance to deadlift since I bombed, which kind of sucks. But so moving forward, I'm not going to do a full meet for at least a year, maybe longer. A couple of my bucket list goals that I want to hit. I want to be one of the only men in history. I don't know how many. Maybe someone could look this up for me. I want to be one of the only men in history to squat 800 pounds in 6 weight classes. I've done it in 5 so far. I've done 900 at super heavyweight. I've done 850 at 308. I've done 805 at 275. I've done 800 at 220 and 198, which obviously the 198 was really special to me because it's my first 4 times body weight squat. Not too shabby. I harnessed my inner Chuck V, Chuck vocal pole for this meet. I wore my Westside beanie to honor Westside Barbell, to honor Chuck, and pay some homage to those guys. So it was cool. It was a really cool feeling. I feel good about that goal. I want to get that 800 pound squat at 242. So that's going to happen on December 14th. Myself and Bench and Benny are throwing down. We're going to throw some big weights around. We're going to go up to Lake George for Power Wars. And I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get that 800 pound squat. It's going to be a quick prep. I'm just going to take my openers Thanksgiving Day with my team, and then we're going to go from there. I'll probably end up deadlifting, and I'll probably take like a token bench because I want to let my shoulder heal up. Since I did not get a deadlift in the books at 198, I also signed up for a deadlift only meet in Allentown on February 1st in 198 class. That will also make sure that my chubby little self actually gets the weight off that I put on, which I'll get into in a second. We'll put some other information out there, but we will be doing another clinic at Ironstone Barbell since that's close to Allentown on January 31st. So I'll put some details once those come up as well. So I'm going to coordinate. There's going to be an event attached to that as well. One of the reasons I want to get a 198 deadlift in the books is because pulling 600, I haven't pulled 3 times body weight in a meet yet, so pulling 3 times body weight is a goal of mine, and also deadlifting 600 or more in 6 weight classes also has a nice ring to it, and that is another bucket list goal of mine. So December 14th and February 1st are going to be my next competitions. I'm not going to do a full meet for at least a year. After February 1st, I'm going to be focused on getting my shoulder healthy and just doing having some physique goals, which I'll kind of we're not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, but I'm going to have some big goals of dieting down and getting to my lowest body fat percentage ever. But from now on, and the main reason for that is next time around, I want to get my body weight to something below 198, so I can be in a calorie surplus. So when I do a full meet at 198 again, I'm not in a deficit during prep. That is going to be, because that's honestly the way you should do it, guys. Don't do as I say, not as I do. At the end of the day, the Road to 198 series was all about getting strong and lean. It was not putting up the best total possible. So I was able to check off those boxes of making the weight, but now I have to do it a smarter way because I've been bombing out, I've been hurting my shoulder, and that's not acceptable. So I need to pump the brakes a little bit. I need to focus on physique a little bit. I'm still going to only ride one horse at a time this time. I'm not going to try to serve 2 masters. So after this February 1st deadlift contest, I'm going to focus on just getting lean and actually taking a break from powerlifting for a couple of months. And then from there, I'll sign up for my next full meet. My next full meet will definitely be at 198. And then my goal for that is to hit a 10 times body weight total, which is another bucket list goal of mine. Diet moving forward, I'm going to keep things kind of vertical-ish. So I'm going to have a lot of meat and rice. I'm going to have some fruit, some oranges, some cranberries, some cranberry juice, some orange juice. And I'm going to have a couple of treat meals here and there because Mama makes some good cooking and good rainbow cookies. I can't resist those things. So that's going to be, for the diet, I'm just going to try to fill out the 242 class for December 14th. And then after December 14th, I will start to tighten things up because I need to make weight for 198 pound class on February 1st. So I'm going to put some muscle back on. So this is where we're going to get into our next point. I think this is very interesting. I want to go through my in-body results for this week. Halloween, I was 208 pounds. My body fat percentage was 16% today. So a couple weeks later, so about 2 weeks later, I weigh 233 pounds. Holy cow, that's a big jump. And my body fat percentage is 15%, so that's kind of weird. So I've been eating some junk, I've been having a lot of carbs, I've been enjoying myself. But the biggest difference is the InBody uses electrical impedance, and so the more hydrated you are, it's going to register more muscle mass, so we're going to have a better reading on how much muscle you have. So this is showing me a couple of things, but my total water weight when I weighed 208 on Halloween was 128 pounds of water. Today my water weight was 145 pounds. Holy cow! So that's what my normal water weight was when I was super heavyweight. So I'm super bloated. I'm retaining a lot of water. So obviously that's not all fat, right? So I expect my weight to normalize a little bit once I kind of get my diet back in order and I kind of eliminate all these treat meals. But the interesting thing is that it also registered 7 more pounds of muscle because I was so much more hydrated. So if you are doing like a DEXA scan or an InBody, just understand it's very sensitive to water, so you want to try to have similar levels of hydration. And that's going to give you the best information as far as tracking body fat percentage. So it's not. So these would be outlier results. You want to, as long as you're trending body fat percentage down and muscle mass up over time, that's the most important thing. So I think that's important for people to kind of understand that. It is really interesting though that I was able to put like 20 pounds of water weight on in a short time. It really shows how depleted I was. So I need to definitely take a more slow, steady approach to my diet and training, my diet approach, my getting leaner approach come February 2nd. So the dust has settled. I'm really excited. I just competed as a coach. It's really cool to lead by example. Even though I didn't achieve all my goals, I was able to achieve one of my big goals, squatting 800 at 198. It was really cool to train alongside my team for this one. This has been a goal that's been over 3.5 years in the making, and I just feel really grateful to have people to help me achieve such a milestone during a tough time in my life. And in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks from this taping, we're going to go to RPS Insurrection. It's going to be our next team challenge. We have our 5 best women, our 5 best men competing on the platform, going head to head against some strong people. So I'm going to be going for XPC, nationally ranked qualifying totals, trying to qualify for the Arnold Classic. Some will be going for all-time world records. It's really cool, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to kind of focus on the team and put some of my stuff on the back burner for a little bit, and then just kind of hit the ground running and start training the whole process over again. I already have my goals written down on my fridge for next year and for the end of the year. Like I said, I want to squat 850. So I squat 850 at 242, and I want to deadlift 650 at 198 on February 1st. So 850 at 242 is my goal for December 14th, and 650 at 198 is my goal for February 1st. It's going to be cool. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for following along my journey. I really appreciate it. Definitely click subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Check out the links below. Support the program. You can give us a 5-star review on Google, iTunes, on Facebook. Every little bit helps spread the message of strength if you want to continue to get great content like this. The road to 198 is done, but we're making a pit stop at 242 first. So stay tuned, and until next time, stay strong, and we'll see you soon.